What's up, guys? It's the Faruqi brothers back with another video. And today for you guys, we're going to be looking at an interview that Henry Cavill put out this morning with GQ Spain, where he discussed Superman, his thoughts about Man of Steel 2, and the future of Superman as a whole as it comes to his time with the character. But before we get into it, I'm going to play a short clip from the interview. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can watch the entire thing from GQ. So here it is, then we'll quickly discuss it.
I was very keen on really fleshing out Superman's early stages of his journey first. We had Man of Steel, and then we went quite a bit darker with Batman v Superman. And if he were to succumb to the anti-life equation and become bad Superman, I really wanted to make sure that we saw the hero, Superman, and we saw the true symbol of hope, the beacon of light, before we went down the path of darkness and then redemption. And still something that I am very keen to flesh out.
So that was the quick clip. Again, the full 20-minute interview. You guys can watch it, but I wanted to specifically center on two aspects of this interview. Number one, what he wanted to do, what he still wants to do with Superman going forward. And the first thing he said was that, which we've talked about actually multiple times on this podcast and stream over the last year, is that he really wanted to put a movie that takes place in between Man of Steel and BVS. Like, that's what he always wanted to do. It's clear that BVS and even Justice League is not something he truly wanted with the Superman character. But now that it is what it is, I think if he had a choice, clearly from his interview, he would want to go back and do a movie in between Man of Steel and BVS. Granted, Man of Steel is now almost 10 years old, and BVS is entering its almost 6th anniversary of being out. So it's been a while since these films came out. They're quite frankly getting older year by year, so which makes the relevancy less year by year too for a general audience. So I want to start there and toss this one to Zian. Do you think Henry Cavill's right in his approach? Like, if you were going to bring Henry back as Superman, do you think let's put something there in between these two movies?
Yeah, I think I would agree with you that, yeah, it's been a long time. So I see where the argument is that, do you want to go back to that point in like the timeline to do that? And then that obviously brings up other questions like, oh yeah, what even counts anymore part of this universe? Is BVS even canon? Is Justice League canon? Or is BVS canon, but it's Joss Whedon Justice League canon? So which way are they going? What counts? What doesn't? So I think going back kind of puts them into that whole mess. Like, okay, what is going on here? What do you have to explain? What do you have to put in place? I mean, they could do that and like overwrite everything. That's also possible. And you just, from Man of Steel to Man of Steel 2, and now Superman is part of the DCEU, the current one, and you can just forget all the Snyderverse. They could technically go that option as well, but you have that argument that, yeah, it's been a long time, but then you look at the opposite side where it's like Marvel, like, yeah, Black Widow has been a character in other movies, but she only got a solo like 10 years into it. So it's like, okay, you've seen Superman, maybe a direct sequel to Man of Steel would be like, yeah, it's been almost 10 years. But then it's like, yeah, the last time we saw him, though, was this year. So it's like, he's not, as a Superman, as an actor playing Superman, it wouldn't be out of the question that, oh, yeah, can you bring him back? It's been so long, because really it hasn't been that long, because his newest Superman iteration just came out this year. So there is possibility, yeah, he can come back as Superman. It wouldn't be that far-fetched. It's just that where do you want to place him? And does Delvey want to get back into that whole jumbled thing that's going on with the Snyderverse and canon and DCEU and whatnot?
Umar, it's interesting because one thing he did point out, which is probably the first time he did so in an interview, he kind of made in his head Zack Snyder Justice League canon, because he said, oh, we need to do this before Superman falls to the anti-life equation, which is obviously not a thing in the way the Joss Whedon version ended. So he straight up said, oh, we know he's going to fall to the anti-life equation, but we need to put a movie before that where we get to see Superman in his full, hopeful light. And you and we've had a discussion multiple times where we talk about how, yeah, like, I know like we're so caught up in like Snyder's vision and kind of the darker element, but I think both of us were pretty keen on like, hey, if you're going to do like, there's a room for like a hopeful and lighthearted Superman movie that's not campy like what Whedon's writing, but it still has its place in kind of today's comic book movie sphere. So what do you make of like today's comments, especially that he kind of mentioned Justice League straight up, like in terms of the story?
I mean, I think it shows what his position actually is when it comes to like the whole DC world. He kind of has been hesitant on the whole like playing Superman dark because he hasn't gotten a chance to really play him in the light. I think in Man of Steel, he's kind of right. Like you had a Superman kind of finding himself, and then BVS was pretty dark, and then Justice League. He comes back pretty hopeful in Justice League, but we also have a scene with him like succumbing to anti-life. You didn't get a chance to really just flesh out the character in a Man of Steel 2, and I actually don't fully disagree with him. Like I think like had it been the case that they did a Man of Steel and they did a second Man of Steel movie, and then the rest was Batman v Superman, Justice League, and stuff. If you make a movie in the middle where you flesh out the character and actually have him, he doesn't have to be saving kittens off trees, but when you have him show that like he has a relationship with Metropolis and the people of Metropolis, like show that, because him just saving the world like in Man of Steel, that's like one thing, and I'm sure like of course like they built a statue and they tried to show it. But if you had a movie in the middle where they just it's kind of a smaller story of Superman just doing his thing, it just fleshes out his character more, so that when he does die in Batman v Superman, and he comes back in Justice League and they're going to continue that story, then it would make sense to like people would have more. It would have more of an impact on the audience. And then the flip side of this whole thing is like him making the Snyderverse canon. I mean, like I think Zion would probably agree with me that like there isn't. They don't have a beat. They don't know what the hell's canon. They're just trying to do different things, and I think the Flash is their attempt to try to answer that question for the audience. But it shows how weak the current slate has been, that you actually have to make a whole movie now just to kind of correct that or try to put that on a certain pathway. So my take is it would have been nice, but I think it might be a little too late, because Black Widow is a different story with like even that kind of fell flat. Like the movie felt kind of flat because of the whole like thing of knowing kind of the ending, right? Like if you put a Superman movie in the middle of those things, you know what's gonna happen. Like, he's not gonna die. It's nothing like there's no real threat. He'll win at the end. It's fine.
It's
They should
interesting
do the
because you
Black Adam
mentioned,
thing. They should put him in the future, put him in the current phase, and just flesh him out there. You could still flesh him out.
the one point you made, I think that resonates most is it might be already be too late, and because we're talking about like, hey, let's put a movie in between this so that when Superman goes to the anti-life and comes back, but as of right now, there is no Justice League 2 with Zack Snyder. There's no Justice League 3. Zack is tied up with Netflix for the next 5 to 10 years, so there is no sequel like that happening, as of right now. And things are getting Discovery, but chances are low that that's the reality of the situation. So. And then you take Henry himself and Cavill, let's call it what it is. He's also kind of yesterday's news when it comes to Superman. Yes, he showed up this year, but as far as WB is concerned, he's not part of the future plans. Not when you have a Val Zod movie, a Val Zod series in the work. Not when you have Superman and Lois, which did very well for Warner Brothers. So they're feeling like we should just keep investing in Tyler. And then when you see the other Black Superman movie in development with Ta-Nehisi Coates, where do you fit Henry Cavill's Superman? You can only fit him in a cameo, which is what expectedly is going to probably happen, but we can't a solo movie, let alone a solo movie neatly in between these two things, is low in my opinion.
Oh, I want to make one last point about like I think something that he said kind of shows his mentality a bit, which is like he basically said like in Man of Steel, Nolan and Snyder and me.
Man of Steel, I will say that when I look at Man of Steel of who to give credit for, the story, the script, that's all Christopher Nolan, and Zack obviously is the visual, the directing eye alongside Amir Mokri, and of course Hans Zimmer with one of his probably his top 3 or 4 best scores. So those millions, if I had to pick a ranking of where Henry Cavill falls on why Man of Steel works, Nolan and Zack, Hans Zimmer, then Henry, then the supporting cast, which is very strong in this movie, and so forth. But Samir, what do you make of these comments? And Henry Cavill's talking about where to put in Man of Steel 2. He's mentioning Justice League. In the meantime, officially from Warner Brothers, there is nothing in the works with Henry Cavill. So are all these comments from Henry kind of futile? Like, what do you think intention-wise? What's Henry's intention by doing these kind of interviews and keep mentioning Man of Steel 2?
I guess his intentions would just be not to be phased out of the future DCEU, like they're phasing him out with bringing in Supergirl, and changing up the whole DCEU with the Flash, and just getting rid of all the previous Snyderverse. With they're still focusing on Aquaman and Wonder Woman. I guess he's trying to just slip himself in also. I mean, it's been 10 years since the sequel. Since the original. I think the difference between him and Black Widow is that Black Widow wasn't really the face of the DCEU the way Superman is. I mean, she was the face of the MCU the way Superman is for the DCEU. So just throwing in a sequel now would just be kind of random. Like, they'd still have to build up more to where he would fit into the universe. Maybe a sequel then would have worked before BVS. I think that would have fleshed him out more. But then again, BVS ties directly after the aftermath of Man of Steel. So how would that even fit in to Snyder's vision? I don't know. But for now, they'll have to move on from the Flash and then see where they can put him.
That's what I was going to end, kind of wrap this up with. I was going to say the Flash really is going to dictate what the future of the universe looks like. And I know some of the rumors in the early scripts of the Flash movie, it was very much kind of out there that BVS, Justice League are going to be wiped out, and they're only going to keep Man of Steel, and they're going to continue and if they're going to do something, is just Man of Steel's canon in their head. From my understanding, that's also been revised multiple times. So we don't know if, for example, there was a rumor, again, grain of salt, that because of Zack Snyder's Justice League, then Andy Muschietti actually changed some pieces of his movie to kind of align with that. Again, lots of salt with that one. I personally think it's hard to believe he would have done that, but if he did, and that movie is kind of keeping Justice League in consideration, that's one thing. In my opinion, if I was in Henry Cavill's shoes, if I was in Danny Garcia's shoes, if I was in the shoes of that management, the best case scenario really is a soft reboot where you do a Superman solo, you do the story you want, and you just don't talk about anything else that happened. You don't talk about, I know Henry mentioned in that interview that, that Superman has to learn and show that, wow, this is what happened after Zod died. Now here's me showing you guys, the audience, that I don't kill anymore. I don't think that's needed. I think just do the best Superman movie you need to do. Don't mention Doomsday. Don't mention the Black Suit. Don't mention Steppenwolf. Don't mention Apocalypse. Don't mention Zod. Just do a Superman versus Brainiac movie. Very self-contained. Keep Amy Adams. Keep Henry Cavill. You don't want to bring Jesse Eisenberg back, then don't even put a Lex Luthor in the movie, and just do it. And this is why I was actually a proponent of J.J. Abrams, because regardless of what you think about Rise of Skywalker, he delivers a safe movie. And what Superman fans and audiences need is a safe Superman movie where it just comes out, it's okay, we're like, oh, this is good, and then that's it, because at this point, that's all you can ask for. So it's kind of interesting to see that's kind of what the state we are with Superman when you look at the other side of the pond and see that Batman is literally having what's considered could be one of the goated superhero movies, and we're asking for, please give us a safe Superman movie. So
and just
the bar is on the floor.
One last point.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing, is like, you don't know what the fans want, because you had the safest Superman movie, and that's called Superman Returns, and that failed. And then you have experimental Superman, which is Man of Steel and BVS and his Snyderverse iteration, which is very experimental, and then that, I guess, sort of failed as well as critically. So it's like, what do the fans even want? What Superman do they want? Because you gave them both, and both did not do what every side wants, what they want. And that's why you'll never please everybody. So they just gotta do what they want to do. The directors want to do.
Samir probably has an answer to
like
that.
Straws, man. They're like straws. They don't know what the hell they want.
Samir, what's your saying about Superman fans?
Superman fans don't even like Superman. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That's rule number one for being a Superman fan. We don't even like Superman. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think safest bet, if I had to give my predictions, we might see him in Black Adam. That's if they can get it reshot, because as of right now, he's not in the movie, or if they added in additional sequences, or he'll show up in a cameo in The Flash. Again, very low in chances, but I do think it's a kind of suspicious that he keeps talking about it. So maybe he has something in the works, or he's in active negotiations to come back for something. And maybe it's a Supergirl solo movie. Maybe he just comes back in that. I don't know. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below if you want to see Superman with Henry Cavill wearing the costume, and if you prefer that it's a soft reboot, or would you rather see him show up in this mini movie between Man of Steel or BVS, or do you think that the only route for Henry Cavill to come back is to the Snyderverse? So let us know in the comments below and join the debate. We'll see you on Sunday for the Built Different stream. This is the Faruqi Bros. We'll see you next time.